Greetings, citizens from the rolling hills of the bluegrass. It's about, I don't know, 2 years ago, maybe a little less. I was driving down the road in my car, because that's what you do. And I was listening to conservative radio host Phil Valentine, who's not too far away out of Nashville. And he was talking about BLM and a lot of their organizers and trying to figure out exactly what they wanted. And he focused in on one thing called power, that they were constantly talking about power, that they need power in order to see change. And he brought up a very good question, was what is power? What is this thing that everyone always seems to be pursuing beyond any kind of material gain? It's always this power, this thing in the distance. And Phil Valentine, who, kind of looks like a distant cousin of Bill Maher, which I think it'd be kind of funny if you had a TV show called The Bill and Phil Hour, where they pick a topic, they stay on that one topic, and for 60 minutes they yell at one another because they both can be kind of condescending and a little snarky. I think it could be fun at least once or twice just to see those two sit down and actually go at it. Just a kind of, ideological scrum kind of a thing where you just bash one another for 60 minutes. Could be fun, could be interesting. Wouldn't be anything worse than what's on TV already. But Bill Maher has this segment that he calls New Rules. So this is New Definition. This is kind of the amalgamating of Phil Valentine's question and Bill Maher's TV segment. But you're sitting and you're thinking as you're driving, well, what is power? What is this elusive thing? And the best that I could come up with, and I'm sure it's not really a new definition, I'm sure it's somewhere out there in the academic world, but it's the idea that power is a combination of resources, or the access to resources, and influence. So the idea is that power is a combination of these two, and these two working together are what gives an individual power over others. So with power you have resources, and resources can really be anything in the material world. It is the access to water, to food, to potentially drugs, or any kind of goods like clothing. Land can be a resource, because in some instances, if you have land, then you have the capacity to pursue the other resources like food and water. People can also be resources, individual human beings, because they're a component, they're the catalyst in the power, because they're what then cause things to go out and be done, and that's influence. Because say I have the resources, I have the water, the food, and the land, then I can go to other people and say, would you do things for me in exchange for some of these resources? And if they're people without much, it's going to be very easy to get them to do things that you want them to do with these resources. And it doesn't have to be malicious. It can be, and it has been, but it doesn't have to be malicious. It's just the idea that you're able to bring people over to your side with the things that you have, and then they go out and aid you in doing what you need being done. And this could be anything. This is me having someone mow my lawn. That's an element of power. This is also me going out and having a military force, because I have the means of being able to do it, because who is Crassus from Rome said you can't really call yourself rich if you can't buy or support or provide for yourself an army. Well, that man had resources, didn't he? And then by having those resources, he was able to get people to join his legion. And then by having the legion, he was able to go and have power. And that's exactly where this confluence of resources and influence come together. And that's kind of the simple idea of where I come from it. Is it accurate? I'm not sure. There's probably some other things in play that I'm not really seeing or taking into account. But if you boil it down, if you're trying to be reductionist about it, I really believe power is just resources plus influence. If you've got it, you can use it to get others to help you. If you don't, you're one of the people helping others. And that I think kind of would answer Phil's question. What does power mean to BLM? Well, they feel like they don't have any power. And in some instances, they don't. So what are they trying to do? They're trying to gain influence. But they're trying to gain influence without resources. Until the NGOs come in. Those non-governmental organizations that come in. And they bring in the resources. And what is the greatest resource we have? Money. Right? Money is the greatest resource because it is the pathway to other resources. You have money, you can get other things. It's just how it works. But if you took money out of the equation, and let's say you had food or you had water, and if you had a large amount of water in an area, you would have a lot of sway. You would have a lot of pull, and people would do things for you to get that water, to get that food. Money is just, it's an in-between thing. Might be a gatekeeper, right? It's just in the way. But that's power, in my view. That's power. So wherever you see someone exercising influence, you then have to go, okay, what do they have? What do they have? They may have a microphone. They may have a makeshift mic stand that they sit on their table so that they can talk into it so they're not hunched over like a humpback. That's resources. And that's where power comes from, in my view. Take it as you will, and have a good day.